Hey, it's Run Pure Sports. It's the Hardwood. We got Hoop here. We got DC here, and I'm Holden. You know what's going on. We just got some news coming in before we get into the bullshitting. Harden's out. So we got James Harden and Joel Embiid out. Interested in hearing what the guys have to say about that on this 9-game slate. We got LeBron going back to Cleveland tonight. We've got a ton of injury news to get to. We'll get to your questions as well. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you get a chance in the bottom right-hand corner. So the boys are back from their company retreat in Casa de Tone Dog. Hoop, before I get your thoughts on this, I'd like to read something that's up on the website right now on Run Pure Sports. It's from JT's Brunch, Monday Brunch. Does he usually write this, or is this a special column today, guys?
Yeah, I think he's been popping in and kind of doing this little article that very entertaining for sure. But today's was
Dimes and Sweet Travis Mangone headed to the famed slab to settle a year-long grudge match and provided the thirsty, intoxicated fans with a battle for the ages. This is poetry, basically, that JT Hayes is bringing up. Gentlemen, was it this dramatic when Mangone just shoved it right down Rubio's throat?
I wasn't there for the game. I think DC got to see it front court, so he can give you the breakdown there.
It was a close battle. Yeah, the whole way through, they were grinding, they were tired. I played Rubio myself, managed to win that one, even though Dunkel wiped the floor with me. And it was a fantastic game. Fantastic weekend. A lot of fun to be had. A little too much fun, maybe paying for it today, but one of the many highlights for sure, Mangone versus Rubio.
Yeah, I mean, that was the lead story there, was Mangone versus Rubio. And Mangone was just on a tear, wasn't he? He was just out to prove everybody wrong. It's good to see that Mangone finally got the last word on something. That's just wonderful. Hoop, also wonderful to see you. Got a chance to meet a family member on the premium show. One of the most awkward moments. Almost as bad as doing a Yoda impersonation for Kate Upton. That's how much that's going to stick in my mind, my friend. Talk to me. How was the trip to Casa de Tone Dog?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I didn't go for the full venture, but I was there Friday and Saturday, and I had a lot of fun with the boys and the girls, a couple girls as well. I was feeling the price, paying the price after 2 days. I can't imagine what DC feels like right now, because the guys were, hard in the paint. I mean, every single day, and like I said, the 2 days did a toll on me. Some of the guys there 5 and 6 days, I can only imagine, but it was a lot of fun getting the whole crew together, meeting some of the guys that I hadn't met before. Watching the sports, rooting them on. A lot of fun. We need you there, though, man. Next year, if this goes down, you have to be there.
You guys are going to be so happy. Well, DC won't be, Mangone won't be, Uncle T won't be, but most of you will be so happy. You'll be like, oh my God, it's the golden unicorn, I also would like a red carpet rolled out, but we'll get to that this time next year. DC, I saw a video of you going head-to-head with about a 375, 400-pound lady. She kicked your ass. So you had a lot of losing this week.
Yeah, a lot of L's, as normal. She did.
As normal.
She did take me down. Mrs. Hoop played a role, I think, in that whole shenanigans going down so far. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I couldn't tell you exactly what happened, but it ended in that, she beat me in the shotgunning. Was it a high noon? I think it was a high noon.
It was a claw, and she was crushing the cans after too. That was the greatest part. She'd shotgun them, crush them, and then just slam it on the bar. I mean, it was incredible. Oh yeah, man.
She ended me on the chugging contest, and that about ended my night, at least as far as recollection. I'm sure I was still there in body, but in mind, my mind was somewhere else after those couple shotguns. But we recovered and we're alive. All good.
You look good. You feel good. Everything's good.
I feel good. Definitely not look good. I wouldn't go that far either. But hey, we're here.
That's amazing that you can go cross country, drink for 4 straight days. Get your ass kicked by JJ and a large woman. Which, by the way, she's actually kind of cute. And then outside of that, DC, a lot of winning besides for a couple of losses.
Yeah. But plenty of wins as well, and some big wins, in the DFS streets too. Hoop, you entitled chopped the big MMA slate on Saturday. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Tambo had the giant golf score, which we got to sweat out. I guess that's yesterday now. So that was a great time. So yeah, lots of good times.
Yeah, and I've set the congratulation meter. Tony doesn't get. First of all, JSU doesn't get a congrats till it's 50K. Tony 75K. If Hoop doesn't take down 6 figures, no congratulations. That's just where the standard is, Hoop. I'm sorry. Good fucking job. Way to go.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, honestly, the MMA win, I was more excited for, obviously excited, but like I literally just looked at Title's playbook. I said I don't know much about MMA. I pull up the playbook and kind of go off that, and he felt real confident in that the main fight, Aspinall. He really felt confident in him, so I just locked him in, and that was really the difference maker. So I just played him on all 150 teams, and he dominated. That wasn't even in question at all. It's just a matter of how big the score was going to be. So yeah, I mean, Title does a great job with that playbook. Like I said, that's literally all I looked at to build my teams.
Title won almost everything he needed to win this weekend. Almost. But congrats to Title for pulling it down. Congrats on the playbook. Congrats to Hoop. Congrats to Tambo. Congrats more than anything to our subscribers, because I think B14 Moore had a nice night. A lot of our subscribers cleaned up. So I don't know how many times we could tell you this. RunPureSports.com. We got a promo code now, Hoop, or are we just going to go for the week? Let's get going here, NCAA, and we'll pick it up some other time.
Yeah, I mean, that Players 33, I believe, is still active through tonight. So if anyone wants to use Players 33, it's 33% off your first payment on any weekly or monthly package. So I think that expires tonight. So last chance to take advantage of that promo code.
Cool. Let's do it. We got so many sports, too. I mean, the last 4 days of NCAA basketball, amazing. Stevie, great job with the playbook. We'll be back with those shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. For the Sweet 16 Elite 8, me, Stevie, and Tony, and I think Kurt stopped by too. That'll be good. MMA, golf, which Tambo killing it, Hoop and Title killing it on the other side. The subscribers killing it. We got NBA in full swing. And DC, I know you're happy. We finally got baseball coming back too. Yeah. So that's actually coming up on us really fast, isn't it? We're like a couple weeks away.
Yeah, you guys are both baseball guys. It got to be exciting, right?
Oh, I'm not there yet. It's NCAA season still, buddy. Once that ends, boom, it's all about baseball.
My baseball season kind of officially started today. I figured after this trip, they got the CBA worked out, 2.5 weeks, spring training going on. So very, very excited for baseball. But, we got NBA still to carry us there in early April and get some winners.
There's a hint. And DC, thank you for the hint. Let's get to this 9-game slate here. I want to remind everybody the news just before we came on. James Harden is out. Embiid's already out. Bojan's out. Josh Hart's out. Gary Trent's out. Want to talk to you guys about Fred VanVleet. Marcus Smart, Time Lord. Neither one's playing. Jimmy Butler is active. We're still waiting on, I think, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Hey, Hoop, SGA, can you think, is there another injury situation we're waiting on that's going to have more an impact than that one?
Basically, it's down to SGA. Kuzma's pretty big on the slate, and then Karl Anthony Towns is officially questionable too. I don't know what his situation is, right forearm. So those are kind of the three that are the most important tonight.
Okay, DC, let's get into the first game. We've got the Blazers and the Pistons. 223 is the total, and I guess we got to wait for Winslow too, right? In this game, give me a little rundown of the Blazers, the Pistons, the first game, and if there's anything that's standing out to you right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a doozy of a 9-game slate, right? Especially with Embiid was kind of the biggest piece of news on the slate, and then you take out the other star in that game. So that happened just like a minute before we got on the air, pretty much. So haven't broken all that down yet, but that's going to dictate a lot of the slate. You're going to see a lot of 76ers up there. But as far as this game, obviously two teams, not a lot to play for here. We're going to see, we're seeing it with these two teams. We're going to see it with more and more teams down the stretch as teams get eliminated out of playoff contention or lock in their seeding. We'll see a lot of players rest. We see it with the Blazers, who have just kind of, gone through a whole roster that's kind of out right now. The interesting part, I think, with Hart out, and then obviously, Simons, and of course Lillard's been out forever. They did sign Chris Dunn, who I think has had 3 pretty good games in a row coming off the bench. He looks interesting to me. You still have Williams there, but I think Dunn is the play that I'm looking at most closely. I think Winslow is fine as well. But yeah, it would be mostly those 2 guys from the Blazers. From the Detroit side, you can always play Cade Cunningham, especially in good matchups like this one. Obviously, going up against a beat up and not very good Portland team. So Cunningham, I think, would be the guy on Detroit for me. But yeah, right now, Dunn. I was planning on playing him, but the Harden news obviously could potentially change that. But yeah, just a few players in this game for me that I think are in play.
Hey, Hoop, let me start with Cunningham then. We just heard DC's thoughts. We'll start with Cunningham, run through the rest of this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of 2 guys that I'd even consider in this game. Better priced on FanDuel, 7.5K. FanDuel has kind of given up on adjusting their pricing at this point in the season, and the guys are just, so many guys are underpriced over there. So he's 7.5K, not a must play because, like I said, every single guy's underpriced. They're doing a great job early on in the season, like adjusting the pricing, but like I said, they've kind of given up. They're kind of only adjusting these guys like once a week. So he's in play, better on FanDuel, but I'm not opposed to the 8-4. Not a building block, but definitely a guy that you can play tonight. And then Chris Dunn, I do like. I mean, again, we haven't had time to fully analyze that 76ers situation. I'm sure there's going to be some full punts now that we can play there, but I still like Dunn either way at 3.8K. But I don't think there's really anything else I can touch in this game. So Dunn and Cunningham.
It sounds a little bit like DC's side on that one. Okay, very good. Let's hit our second game. Don't forget, like button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, a little over 8 right now. So bottom right-hand corner, red button, triangle to the side. Hit that. Hoop is excited. Something's going to happen when that goes down. We hit 10K. Well, something's going to happen tonight in Cleveland, Hoop. Little LeBron. Yeah, he's questionable. He's playing tonight, isn't he? He's priced up. He's got some huge games back-to-back. Now, was it 60+? Any interest in the Lakers and the Cavaliers? 227 the total.
And the Lakers, they've been a pretty easy team to break down for a while now. It's like LeBron and nobody else. I mean, I just can't imagine clicking the name of anyone else on this roster. And it's probably going to be the case until Anthony Davis returns. And LeBron, in terms of his price tonight at 11.6 on DraftKings, he's substantially more expensive than some other guys. Like Durant's in a pretty good spot, I think, tonight, and it's $1,000 difference. So I don't think I need to go all the way up to LeBron at 11.6 if you like him. I mean, you're going to have all the value in the world to get to him, but for me, I think I'll be going elsewhere if I'm spending. I think Luka's in a really good spot too, which we'll talk about in the last game of the slate. So I mean, the only guy I would even consider on the Lakers is LeBron, but I don't think he's a necessity because he is priced substantially more than the other studs on this slate. And then the Cleveland side, I honestly just don't have any interest in Cleveland here. I mean, there's some really good games that we're going to get to. It's a 9-game slate. We have substantial injury news and potentially more injury news that could come, more guys resting. So I just don't really like anyone here. I mean, Garland's kind of popping on some sites, but I just don't feel like paying 9.3 for Darius Garland here. Like if I'm going to spend, I'm going to go elsewhere. So, LeBron's probably my favorite play, but honestly, I don't think I'll have a ton of them at the 11.6.
Where are you on this, DC? Is this a fade for you too, or can you find some gems?
Yeah, for the most part, I think it's a relatively close call between LeBron and Luka. You could kind of play the narrative straight either way with LeBron, right? Coming back to Cleveland, the Lakers desperate for wins. It's got to go through LeBron if they're going to get it done. And kind of curious too. I mean, it wasn't too long ago LeBron left the Cavaliers. It looked like the Cavaliers franchise was in shambles. They've had all the injuries in the world, and they're favored by what, 6 or 7. They're a better, way better team than the Lakers. Despite the differences in star power between the two. So that's curious. I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron came out and had a monster game in this one, right? Back at home, all the reasons in the world to get it done. But Cleveland still playing pretty good defense, good rim protection, and it's possible they'll kind of slow the Lakers down here. So if LeBron fits, right, if you want to play all the value and jam in, you could even play 2. You could play probably Luka and LeBron tonight on the same lineup if you wanted to. So that's an option. I think LeBron is fine. I wouldn't play anyone else on the Lakers. Cleveland side, yeah, Garland's okay. I'm with Hoop. I don't see myself playing him. And then the other guy that I would consider would be Evan Mobley, who playing the 5 now with Jarrett Allen out. We've seen some pretty big gains out of Mobley. I think he's been 40 plus in 3 of the last 4, 7,900, fair price, and obviously a great matchup against the Lakers. So Mobley would be the guy that I'd be most likely to play from Cleveland.
Pinto got flows in chat. Congrats to you, Pinto. I know you had a huge night. He's a subscriber to Run Pure Sports. Look at these winners. Pinto won $39K over the weekend in MMA. So what up, Pinto? Good shout out to you, buddy. I love seeing you in the premium chat, man. It's great. We love it when our subscribers win. Let It Mango with 20K in NASCAR. That's the whole thing. It's like, it's not just the big sports. It's not just NBA, NFL. It's all the sports. Mike B, 10K in LOL. Sorry, Brucey. I think I called it video games, but whatever. And then Earwig winning 8K in PGA. Triple Z Jazz with 7K in the UFC. And then Tambo won 94K in PGA. The problem is he lives in Canada. I mean, it's like $1 million in Canada with their exchange rate, but then they take half of that. So he probably did get about 94K. Tambo, congratulations. Amazing.
I don't think they take any of it in Canada. You get to keep it.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, you can kind of circumvent it, can't you? So 94K, he should be able to buy a mansion up there with American dollars. Yeah, it's almost as bad as the peso. And then, of course, Tambo with the 94, Hoop with the 39K, and Title with the 28K. But the guys are doing it. The subs are doing it. It's just terrific. Love to see it. Love to see it. We root for everybody. That's the other thing about this place. Everybody roots for everybody. I mean, sure, we may not like you very much, but we still want you to win, and we want you to win a lot of money, okay? Just know that. Even if we don't like you, we want you to win as long as you're a subscriber. Let's get the stat correction killed you in NASCAR yesterday, Junior. I don't know what happened with that, but looking forward to seeing you left to lock, dude. Pelicans Hornets, DC. How about this one? We got a little Brandon Ingram, Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham's questionable. Ingram's out, obviously. Talk to me here. The Hornets, they playing fast enough? Can we target some guards against them?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest total on the slate, or maybe close to it. 235 total. So obviously a game you're going to want to target normally, and I do think these teams are fairly straightforward. So good combination there. CJ McCollum, I think, has got to be, close to the top of the list. Again, a lot of studs that you could potentially play, but he's up there for me. Brandon Ingram's still out, and especially if Devontae Graham ends up sitting, McCollum would get a nice bump there. Could see Jose Alvarado back in the starting lineup. He would be a decent value play, I think, probably behind a lot of the Sixers guys at this point, but at least an option. But yeah, mostly McCollum for the Pelicans side. I think you could go to potentially a Jonas Valanciunas. The matchup's just so good here that I think the upside is there. It's just the floor is a little bit low for him for his price point, especially on this slate. So yeah, CJ McCollum, the guy I'm looking at mostly for New Orleans. Charlotte side, nothing really stands out to me, but you can obviously always play LaMelo Ball. Terry Rozier has been kind of my preferred play between those two for especially the second half of the year, where he's regularly outscoring LaMelo, but he's always much lower owned and often cheaper as well. So I do like Terry Rozier some. Rozier and McCollum, my two favorite plays in this game.
Hoop, how popular is McCollum going to be tonight? Good play.
I do like him. I don't think he's going to be super popular. The price at 9.2, there's a lot of guys kind of in that range. We have Tatum and Jaylen Brown with a lot of guys out for Boston that I think will soak up some of the ownership there. So I don't think he'll be all that popular. I do like him. I think he's a fine play. Good matchup here. Nice total, 235. I do really like Valanciunas, a guy that I don't think will get a ton of ownership. He has a lot of these up and down type games. Like DC said, the floor is pretty low on him. But like if he's in there and gets full run, he should just smash in the spot. Yeah. So I don't think many people are going to play him. Like tournament wise, I think it's nice. This game is nice because I think it has a chance to be a big fantasy producer with low ownership. Because I don't think many of these guys on the Hornet side will be highly owned either. So you can kind of pair up combinations of McCollum, Valanciunas, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier. I mean, even maybe Miles Bridges a little bit. And you're just going to be different because the ownership, I think, on all these guys comes in relatively low. In terms of like cash games, there's not a ton here that you're going to want for cash games, but tournaments, I think this is a sneak, not necessarily a sneaky game because you look at it and you know that it's probably good for fantasy, but I just don't see a lot of these pieces having that high of ownership. So I think it's a really good spot for tournaments. McCollum, Valanciunas, LaMelo, and Terry Rozier would be my 4 favorites in this one.
Okay. So how many likes we need, Hoop? What are we sitting at right now?
We've been doing about 250. Well, yeah, I think 250 is a good number.
He's fine. Yeah, we got DC here. You know, they love hitting the like button for DC, so that's good. You got a snazzy head on yourself. Looks wonderful. But of course, there's me. So what's not to love? Let me have a basketball conversation with you here, Hoop. And DC, I'm looking forward to your thoughts too. What the fuck are the Sixers doing without Harden and Embiid when they're playing the Heat tonight? Like, seriously, what are we doing in the NBA? The two of the best players in the league are sitting out in this matchup, a game that everybody wants to see.
Yeah, it kind of seems weird. One guy ruled out, you're not surprised. It's April or March, end of March, NBA. You see guys sitting out all the time. But the fact that they're going to sit out both these guys, like, do they maybe not want to show them something for the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, Miami's obviously a team that's going to contend, I think, this year. So it could be a little bit of that. I don't know. It does seem weird, though, that they're both sitting. I mean, it's essentially like almost punting off a game. But the weird thing is, it's not even that wide of a spread. Oh, no, it's 7.5. So yeah, it's gone up quite a bit. So still, it's a 7.5 point spread. But it does seem odd that both these guys would sit out. It makes me believe that maybe they're like, hey, we probably have to face these guys in the playoffs. Let's not show them anything here at the end of the season.
What do you think, DC? I mean, this is just disappointing. 2 of the top 3 seeds in the East, and they're not even going to mess with each other.
Yeah, I think the Harden being ruled out, I think moved it 6.5 points. I think Miami was 1 point favorites with the Embiid news. Yeah, hoops theory makes some sense because it is strange. You know, I would expect both these guys to be out there. If this was a playoff game between these two teams. So yeah, maybe they are trying to keep it a little bit close to the vest. Not quite sure. But yeah, I mean, from a DFS perspective at this point, the remaining Sixers, I'm looking at, I mean, they all kind of look like pretty damn good plays. It's going to be one of those where you got to rank them, right? Because you're going to have some Sixers in your lineup. I think that's pretty much inevitable, but it is a little bit scary, Hoop. I mean, if they're punching off this game, maybe can they keep it close enough? They're pretty badly overmatched without Embiid and Harden out there. But still, in the NBA, you're going to put up fantasy points if you're on the court, and guys like Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton, DeAndre Jordan. I think those 4. Am I forgetting one maybe? I'm still not going to play like Thibault. No thanks. Danny Green, probably no thanks. Georges Niang, I think you could play, but I see it. Jordan, Harris, Maxey, and Milton, I think, are the primary 4 that I'm looking at right now, kind of on a first run through.
You want to rank the Sixers, Hoop? I thought DC had a little exercise here. Look at these cheap guys that are really, they're not all cheap guys, but this just opens up so much on the team and so much on the slate. So give me top 3 or 4 guys you're looking at, Hoop.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a somewhat dicey situation because, the fact they ruled out Embiid and Harden, who had just been playing, for the most part, together last 3 weeks, it makes you worry that, they're just like, okay, we'll just, punt this one off. But I mean, for fantasy, you can't bank on that. I mean, if this is a close competitive game and they're in it to win it, like, you have to play at least a couple of these guys. They are a tough team, though, because you got a guy like Danny Green where the floor is always so low, even in these spots. I agree with like the Thibault thing. Do you really want to play him? Probably not. So, I mean, you're looking at Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and DeAndre Jordan as the top 3, like, for sure. Will Shake Milton get some more run tonight? I'd assume so. You want guys that are playmakers in this spot. And to me, it's Harris, it's Maxey, probably Shake Milton. and then DeAndre Jordan at 3-3. But it's one of those situations we can't bank on the speculation that they're just punting this off. You have to play these guys for fantasy. You need some 76ers in your lineup. I mean, it is one of the worst spots going against the Miami Heat, who's a defensive-minded type team, but you have to overlook that tonight because of the scenario.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about this game? The other side?
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially on FanDuel, Maxey and Harris, 5,200 for Maxey, 5,500 for Harris. They're about $1K cheaper roughly on FanDuel than they are on DraftKings. I think they've become pretty close to must plays on FanDuel. DraftKings, I mean, 6,400 Harris, 6,200 Maxey, not guaranteed, I don't think, to get there. And then, what are your thoughts on DeAndre Jordan, Hoop? Because that's a question mark for me. Not a guy I really want to play. How many minutes are they really going to give him, right? So I don't know. He's a question mark for me right now, whether or not I want to play him.
Yeah, certainly not an exciting fantasy roster. There's no way it's not going to be one of those situations where he steps in and plays the minutes that Embiid typically.
No.
No matter what, you're probably looking at 25, 26, 27 minutes at the most. The good thing is he's only 3-3, and he can certainly get there in that time period. But it's definitely not one of those situations where you're looking at him now playing 35 minutes. That's just definitely not going to happen. The good thing with guys like Harris and Maxey is you're not paying like a big premium. Like on FanDuel, super cheap. On DK, moderate price tags, middle of the road, 6'2", 6'4". Even if they don't have these monster games, you can still get by. So yeah, DeAndre Jordan definitely my third on the list. I mean, Harris and Maxey 1A, 1B type situation. DeAndre Jordan at 3-3. I don't think it's a slam dunk, but a guy that you probably have to play by default.
Yeah, I assume it'll be Paul Reed backing up DeAndre Jordan here. I don't think they have another option. So I'm with you. I think you put DeAndre Jordan at roughly 25 minutes. It's possible the other 23 go to Paul Reed as the backup role. He's even cheaper than Jordan is. Maybe a better, per minute guy at this point. Also probably blowout proof, which again, I'm slightly worried about for this game. So, cash games, yeah, I think Jordan is going to be in there. Tournaments, maybe you make that direct pivot, right? From Jordan to Paul Reed. Again, you don't feel super secure about the minutes with Paul Reed, but you don't feel that secure about him with DeAndre Jordan either. So maybe a fun tournament pivot there if you want to get a little bit different. And if it's Reed who has a good game, probably a lot of lineups are going to go down with DeAndre Jordan because I do think he'll be pretty popular. Not as popular as Maxey and Harris, but pretty damn popular.
Okay, next game we got, guys, Jazz and Nets. This is a healthy total too, 231. What are we looking at here? Bojan's out. Of course, Kyrie is out too. He's not going to be playing in this one. Hoop, Jazz, and Nets. There's got to be something we can dig up here, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at some pretty clear options. I think Kevin Durant with, obviously they're playing in Brooklyn. They continue to roll out the just idiotic rule that, Kyrie can't play in the stadium, just so freaking dumb. So that makes Kevin Durant a solid fantasy option. This is one of those situations, though. If I play Durant, I want probably a Jazz guy on the other side, and it would be Mitchell. I think you can pair up Mitchell and Kevin Durant in tournaments. Hope you get a little back and forth. 230 total. Utah's only favored by 1.5 in this spot. So the Jazz are without Bogdanovich as well. And it's just a weird situation with the Jazz where it just seems like when those mid-tierish type guys get ruled out, the boost just goes directly to a guy like Donovan Mitchell. So I think Mitchell's a great play. 9K. I don't think many people will be on him tonight. Same with Kevin Durant. I think he has a chance to be a little bit lower. People look at Utah and this is defensive minded team, blah blah blah. It's a 230 total. I mean, this is it's a healthy total and close spread. So I think this is a really good spot to get exposure to Durant and Mitchell. And I do like that pairing because, man, if you can get a back and forth between those guys, I mean, these guys can get unconscious on the court and just knock shots down at will. So if this is like a high scoring back and forth game, the ball is going to be in Mitchell's hand and it's going to be in Kevin Durant's hand. So I really like this pairing for tournaments. Again, this is kind of similar to that Pistons Blazers game. I think there's two really clear plays here and I really don't want anything else.
Two clear plays here. Is that it, DC? How about you?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with Kevin Durant in this spot without Kyrie. Obviously, Mitchell looks like a great play with Bogdanovich out. I think you could look to Goran Dragic. His price is coming up a little bit, 5,300 now on DraftKings, but he's played 36 minutes in each of the last two games, and I know he's not playing the best, but obviously he's healthy if they're running him out there that many minutes, and he's not that far removed from being a pretty damn good fantasy player. So I think he could still kind of be rounding into form a little bit, and we could see some bigger performances out of him because he's got to get going. I mean, is Kyrie Irving even going to be allowed to play at home in the playoffs?
No.
Yeah, at this point, it kind of doesn't seem like it. As crazy as that sounds. So Dragic could potentially be a pretty important member of this team, and he's got to get going. So I do like him a little bit at 5,300. Again, value all over the place, and I don't think you'll see a lot of people kind of living in the mid-range necessarily today. I think you'll see a lot of stars and scrubs types lineups, so it could make a guy like Dragic a little bit lower owned. But I do agree, Durant, the play that I want more. I do like Mitchell. Even a guy like Rudy Gobert, 7,800, probably going to play big minutes here. He would be a decent play if you want to get a little bit contrarian, because a lot of people are going to spend down, I think, at center with DeAndre Jordan. So some decent plays here. Should be a high-scoring, close game. But, yeah, the two stars, Durant and Mitchell, I think are two of the better spend-ups tonight for sure.
Hang on. Let's go. Hoop says 250 likes. Let's go. We're at 167. We got 4 games to go. Just want to remind you, go to runpuresports.com if you haven't checked this out yet. Maybe you have checked this out. We'll come back again because, again, massive winners this weekend in MMA, NASCAR, LOL, PGA, UFC, and any other 3-letter, whatever the hell it is. NBA, I mean, the guys are crushing NBA. Guess what's around the corner? Baseball, DC, JT, all the boys heading up the – Did you guys see JT? Did you actually meet him in person?
JT, you got to check out the video that hit Twitter of DC versus Big Bertha, because JT's in the background, like rooting it in, getting it started. Like JT was DC's corner man for that battle.
Well,
he's not getting any cut of the check. I didn't get any winnings.
Everybody's afraid of JT. It seems like is he just a big teddy bear? He's not a big guy, is he, or is he just built?
He's a dude I would never mess with ever. He's got that look. He's got the build and he's got the look.
I wonder if we put a toupee on him, if he'd be that scary though. I think
it's the shaved head. The bald head does play a role in that. That's a good point.
I mean, could you imagine if he had a comb over? It'd be like, yeah, JT, I'm not worried about that guy. But he doesn't. He has a bald head, so he's really, really crazy. Okay, so we got the Celtics and the Thunder. Hoop. There's no Marcus Smart. There's no Time Lord Robert Williams. They're playing on a back-to-back. What do we want to do here with the Celtics before we get to the Thunder? Low total 217.
Yeah, so the Thunder, I mean, it's all contingent on what happens with SGA. I mean, if he's in, I'm not playing anyone on the Thunder side. If he's out, then we can look to guys like, Trey Mann a little bit. Theo Maledon, I think, would be in play a little bit. But it's a bad spot. I mean, against this Boston team. I mean, a defensive-minded team. Thunder projected to score, 100 points, which is pretty damn low. That will come down if SGA is ruled out as well. So not the most exciting spot here for the Thunder. You could maybe look at Poku or Baisley, but I don't want to go like overboard regardless. On the Boston side, though, tough team to ignore tonight with all those guys ruled out, and, a good spot here where they should be able to get whatever they want against the Thunder. Derek White is a guy that's popping, very moderate price tag, should get, 30 minutes here. The one thing though with White, I mean, he's clearly far behind these guys in the pecking order on offense, and coming off the, a normal role coming off the bench, he really hasn't done anything with Boston. He is going to be highly owned tonight. I don't hate I don't hate fading him in tournaments if you're doing like 150. I mean, the ownership on this guy is going to be massive. He's clearly well behind Jason Tatum, well behind Jaylen Brown, and even probably Horford in terms of the pecking order on offense. So I think there's way more risk with White than the projections are letting off. Definitely, one of my least favorite, I think, value plays on this slate. He's going to be highly owned though. But I think you definitely got to look at Tatum. You have to look at Brown. Al Horford, another guy that we want to look at tonight. Grant Williams, I mean, I think he's a terrible basketball player, but he's going to be out there playing a ton of minutes, and he's super cheap as well. I would be cautious though with Boston, and they still have guys that they can play. So I'm going to be a little lower on Boston, definitely than the field. I mean, you look at the projections on any site, and they have all these Boston guys ranked higher than anyone else. It's a back-to-back. They're 15-point favorites. They do have other bodies they can use. I'm definitely going to have exposure to these guys, but like I said, it's going to be, I think, a lot less than the field.
DC.
Yeah, I'm with Hoop there, especially with on the Derek White fade. Yeah, you won't see him, I don't think, probably in my lineups. It's just so many good options. I mean, you look at even these last couple of games. Like, I know Smart is out, but like Peyton Pritchard has been outplaying Derek White. He's an option, and then like when Derek White's on the court with Tatum and Jaylen Brown, it's not like a traditional point guard. Those guys can handle the ball. They can play make. They're great scorers in isolation, especially Tatum. So it's not like White is really required to do a whole lot here. You also obviously have the, severe risk of blowout, massive line, Boston playing just incredible defense. Back at the beginning of the year, they were really struggling. They have completely turned it around. Yeah, I don't really ever play players against Boston at this point. I don't want to go against, like, there's so, plenty of lack of defense in the NBA always, but especially this time of year. Do you really want to pick players going up against a team that is clearly just completely locked in on defense every single night, making it tough on their opponents? Not really for me. Even if SGA is out, I'll be hesitant to play too many Thunder. I think Maladon would be the guy I'd be most likely to play, but wouldn't be super excited about it, to be honest. So yeah, I think if you want to play, one of Tatum or Brown, I don't really want to load up on Boston. Sounds like that might be the path that some people are taking. Makes me nervous. I mean, Horford at 5,900, again, another guy that if he's going to be popular, like, is it hard to imagine Al Horford busting at 5,900? Not for me. Same thing with Derek White. He's just, the usage hasn't been there. He's playing with other guys who can handle the ball. So, I get why they'll be popular, but anytime if you can identify the chalk and also identify a pretty easy way the chalk could fail, which I think you can for these Boston guys, then oftentimes that makes for a good tournament fade. So that'll likely be the route that I end up taking.
Okay. We're kind of near the end point, so I still got some stuff to bring up besides for the basketball. Hit the like button. DC, who drank the most over the 4 days at the Casa de Tondo?
I think you're looking at him.
You?
Not me. The other guy. You're
really?
looking
You
at.
drank the most, DC? You think so?
Most people, the people that were still around yesterday and Sunday, we saw many people tap out. Maybe you saw the picture of Titletown crashed out on the couch. Only a couple of us were still going yesterday. Me and Stevie Boynton were still competing for the crown, the crown of champion drinker of the weekend. And we went till like 12:30, 1 in the morning last night, and eventually we just had to call it a draw. Neither of us were going to bow out. We had a flight in 4 hours, so we had to put down one last high noon and hit the sack and call it a draw. But I had a lot of drinks. Yeah.
And I will say with Boynton, it's incredible because this dude, I mean, he pounds them too. I mean, he kept pace with the top drinkers at Tony's house, and like he is largely like unaffected. Like he can still like normally carry on conversations, and like he like is totally normal after like multiple days of drinking, same pep in his step. It was very impressive.
And he had morning college basketball shows.
He's a champ, man. Absolute champ.
That was impressive.
Boynton, I give the crown to. I mean, DC and Boynton obviously 1 and 2 in the drinking, but Boynton just held his composure, got up, did the shows. Like, man, it was impressive.
Loves edibles too. Big Stevie Boynton guy, and he's German. Yeah. He started drinking at like 8.
Yeah, Boynton leaped some spots for hoops list here for sure.
As well, he should. I know I'm on my way down, but Stevie definitely deserves.
I'm on my way down. Well, you made a tactical error, but
yeah, I know. What am I going to do? I mean, listen, I can't change who I am. I'm a buffoon. So
right.
We had that, and DC won that. There was no G Rison, I heard, though. Is G Rison also not there?
G Rison would have been contending with the fellas. But although, last year he came out super strong. Like he drank, I think, 30 like no joke, 30 Modelo's the first night. But he was he was affected day two. Like it really took a toll on how many beverages he consumed day two. Like DC and Stevie, like it no effect. The previous day had no effect on the numbers for the next day.
Guys,
you gotta have more to get the same effect after you come up with it.
Well, you wait till you're old. You wait till you're old, DC. Give yourself another 10 years, buddy. It ain't gonna feel as good when you wake up. You're in your 30s, man. Wait till your 40s and you start. I haven't drank since my 20s, but still, I'm saying it's bad, man.
I just told myself that 10 years ago, but here we are. We're still going strong.
I guess so. All right, guys. Hold on. What is it's no Stevie's not really German, guys. I was just making Boynton, that's probably Irish or something like that. Great kid. Good for him. Way to go, Stevie Boynton. Great liver. Wizards Rockets. Hooper still waiting on Kyle Kuzma. Like, what are we doing with this here? Porzingis isn't going to play the minutes. We don't know what's going on with Kuzma, so I don't know you tell me about the Wizards, and then what about the Rockets side?
Yeah, the Wizards, I mean, if Kuzma's in, I think he's a good play. I mean, he's better on FanDuel. Again, a lot of these guys are underpriced on FanDuel. He's $7K over there. I think that's a great price tag to $8K. Probably will pass on the $8K, but I'm definitely interested in the $7K on FanDuel. Porzingis, I guess, maybe is like a friend. I don't know, man. You look at him, just not playing. He's producing, but the minutes, 26, 29, 23. He hasn't played over 30 minutes since being here. So I'll pass on Porzingis as well. I mean, you're still paying a premium for him. So it's really just Kuzma for me on the Wizards side. Rockets, I don't know, they're kind of healthy. And, this is a 9-game slate where we have a lot of injury news. We could potentially get more guys sitting. I just don't see myself coming to the Rockets, honestly, at all. And you look at the price tags, nothing stands out as being an appealing price tag to me. So Rockets will be a fade. Kuzma on FanDuel, and honestly, that's it for me.
So talk to me about this, DC. If Kuzma's in, what do you think about him? Then what's the pivot if he's out?
Yeah, we've seen Kuzma's production has kind of fallen off with the addition of Porzingis playing the five, because we saw, when Kuzma was having those big games, those kind of big games on the boards, super high usage. I think Porzingis has kind of slowed him down a little bit, so I don't know if I'll end up there. The 7K price tag in a perfect matchup, obviously appealing, but I would prefer guys like Tobias Harris and Maxey in that kind of middle range. I think over Kuzma. Porzingis, I think, is interesting. I think he would have played, like Coop said, the minutes haven't been there, but he's been in a lot of foul trouble, and I think they'll play him 30 plus, maybe 30. If in kind of a good run out for him, right? Where he's not in foul trouble, where it is a close game. This could certainly be that. A giant total. Can't get any better on the matchup. And I think, people are just kind of done with Porzingis, right? Like even this last game with Kuzma out, he becomes pretty big chalk, and still somewhat disappointing performance. But I still like Porzingis here at 7,700. I do think the upside is still there for him, even if the minutes upside might not be, just because the matchup's so good here. So I like Porzingis. I like him a lot more if Kuzma's out, but I do think Kuzma is likely to play in this game. And it's a weird slate because all these high totals, Wizards, Houston, that's kind of typically a fantasy gold mine, but it's going to be the lowest total on the slate, right? The Sixers that kind of get all the ownership. So it is a little bit strange in that regard. Porzingis, my favorite play on Washington, but I think this is a game, if you want to, you can probably pretty safely fade it, which I do think most people will do. But on a game that should be really good for DFS purposes, at least, just in the pace and the lack of defense, yeah, you could find a contrarian player too here if you wanted to.
All right, Olynyk's out. Corey Joseph is out. Also, hit me on the like button. Hit Hoop on the like button. Hit DC with the like button. 206. We got 420 watching. Let's try and get to 250 like they usually do. That would be Tim Judry. Killian Hayes available. Huge news. Okay, and then that's the first thing. The second thing is up to lock today. JT, I will find out what color his hair was when he was born. Okay, that will be my job today. And then JSU and K. Falik. K. Falik's going to be on the show too, so that's wonderful. What a beautiful show. DC Raptors Bulls. Gary Trent Jr.'s out. How high are you on Van Vliet, if you're high on him at all?
No, I haven't. Has he picked it up recently? He's obviously missed time with that seems like that sore knee. Yeah, his production has kind of fallen off. Seems like he's kind of playing through it, right? And so maybe not the guy you want to invest in. His price tag really hasn't fallen that much at 7,900. Yeah, Trent out. It obviously does open up minutes on the wing. You know, you're going to get big minutes from guys like Scotty Barnes, obviously OG Anunoby out still, but like Barnes's price tag is way up there at 8,100. He kind of had some big games when Van Vliet sat, but with Van Vliet back in there, he'll lose that playmaking role that he was really thriving in. So despite how well he's playing, I don't know if I can pay that price tag today. Same thing with Siakam. In Chicago, yeah, I mean, I don't really see necessarily going there. Levine, DeRozan, Vucevic, all as of now at least expected to play in this game. So usually when those three guys are in there, don't go to Chicago too often. And, you know, relatively a modest total here of 219. Another game where, as of right now, looks like a pretty decent one to fade entirely.
All right, LeBron's playing tonight. Hoop, Raptors, Bulls. Are you with DC? This is a good game to fade or no? 225 total.
Just maybe a little more interest in a guy like Van Vliet. I mean, he's 7.2, I believe, on FanDuel. I'd definitely pay that over the 7.9. It's just the minutes. I mean, if he plays, I'm assuming what's his official status? He's playing. So he's going to play a ton of minutes, and it's a close spread. 40 minutes, 35, and then 46, which I'm assuming this was over the weekend. I'm assuming it was overtime. But just plays a lot of minutes here. So I have some interest in him. Boucher in the starting line, assuming he starts, 39 minutes last night, or was that last night? Last night, 39 minutes, 35 fantasy points. If Boucher is going to play 30 minutes, he's a great play. We just need to see who starts. We talked about Toronto all season long. These starters just play a shit ton of minutes. It doesn't matter of who they're facing, who's in, who's out. Whoever starts plays a ton of minutes. So we need the starters here. If Boucher's in, I think he's a very strong option. On the Bulls side, I haven't really been playing the Bulls when all three of these guys are in. All three are in, but I will say the prices are down on these guys. Finally, they're starting to come down a little bit. Levine at 7.6, DeRozan at 8.7. DeRozan's 8.2 on FanDuel, and then Vucevic at 7.8. I will say, though, if you are playing these guys in tournaments, I'd only play one per lineup, and you definitely don't want two of these guys together in the same lineup. So, moderate interest here. Boucher would be my favorite, assuming he starts. This is about an 8 p.m. Eastern game, an hour after lock. Outside chance we get the news before lock, but if he starts, I like him because I know he's going to play a ton of minutes, and when he plays a ton of minutes, he typically performs. So he would be my favorite. Van Vliet on FanDuel has a good price there.
Okay. Last game to get to. Hoop, I'm coming right back at you. Karl Anthony Towns, questionable. Wolves at the Mavericks, 230 the total. Just talk to me about Luka first. Can you start with him and go elsewhere?
Yeah, I think definitely one of the better spends on this slate. He is, 12K on FanDuel. He's only 10.6 or 12K on DK, 10.6 on FanDuel. And this is a really good spot. A 230 total here. Dallas favored by just 2.5. So basically, almost like a pick'em type game. So you can expect some back and forth. Is Dinwiddie in or out? I know he was out.
He's in, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, slight downgrade. I know Dinwiddie was out over the weekend. But I do like Luka in this spot. Jalen Brunson's like 5.4K on FanDuel. That's a good price tag for him. Then on the Timberwolves, I mean, it's just simple. I mean, we need to see what happens with Towns. If Towns is in, not my favorite spot for any of these guys. And that's kind of been my stance all season long. When all three of these guys are in, it's really tough to trust them for fantasy. That's, Russell, and Edwards and Towns. It's just not enough to go around. So if he's in, probably not going to be on him. If he's out, then Edwards and Russell and even Patrick Beverly, big boost. And, Naz Reid would become one of the better values on the slate. This is the latest game on the slate, 8:30 Eastern. So it's kind of hard to wait on this news with the majority of the games locking at 7:30 Eastern. We're just kind of at the mercy of whether or not we get it, because you can't really backload and wait here because you just don't have the time. We don't have the game. So, as it stands now, I won't be playing Timberwolves guys. If Towns is ruled out and I can, make some swaps, I'll try, but I'm not building teams like waiting on this news.
DC, are you waiting or no?
No, I wouldn't wait here. So Towns suffered, it's just a forearm contusion, right? That he suffered, I think, 3 games ago against the Spurs, and then played in each of the next 2 games, played well. This game, I'm a Timberwolves fan, so this game has serious playoff implications for both teams. I would be very, very surprised if Towns end up sitting. You never know. Sometimes we say that and it does end up going against you, but this one I feel pretty confident Towns is going to be in there. Obviously the Edwards is healthy along with D'Angelo Russell and Beverly. Timberwolves playing great basketball, but when everybody's in there, it's just hard to find the value. Oftentimes the production obviously gets spread around. So I do think these guys are going to get big minutes tonight. Both teams going to be playing hard. I think it's, kind of the most fun game on the slate from a real life perspective, at least. But from a fantasy perspective, probably not playing Timberwolves and not building lineups waiting for Timberwolves news either. I think, again, I just really do expect Towns to be in there. And Luka, I think he's a good play. But with Brunson and Dinwiddie both playing, we haven't actually seen that many games with all 3 of them in there. That seems like Dinwiddie and Brunson have both kind of missed a little bit of time here and there. I prefer Kevin Durant over Luka. You can play both certainly if you want, but that's where I would prefer to spend the salary on this slate. So I'll be watching this one, but I don't know how much exposure to this game from a fantasy perspective I'm going to end up having.
Kuzma out. Let's talk about that, guys. Hoop. Just now we know that he's out. Talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Rui, Denny, Osvia, and then, Porzingis, Kispert, KCP. KCP is 5.6K on DraftKings. Jesus, maybe not KCP. A lot of guys are going to get boosts. Porzingis, you have to imagine now plays over 30 minutes.
Maybe. They don't have anything to play for.
Yeah. I'm assuming Rui gets the start. He's 3.9. Denny 4.4. He played 31 minutes. Probably Denny gets the biggest boost. Definitely tune into Up to Lock. Those guys will break it all down. And, we'll be in the Discord talking about it. But interesting spot here now for the Wizards.
DC, agree or disagree with Hoop on anything?
Yeah, I kind of like Porzingis. I thought Kuzma was going to play, and I kind of liked him anyway. So, I do like Porzingis just because the matchup is so good is the big thing here. But yeah, Denny Advia, I think you can play. He's had 3 out of the last 4 games have been big ones. You see the Kuzma usage. Kuzma's the highest usage guy on that team. So you take him out, you saw a higher usage for Denny, for Porzingis. They've got guards, right? They're still going to split the minutes down the middle between Neto and Ish Smith, so you can't really attack it, or at least I wouldn't attack it from that perspective. I think you want to look to the wings, and KCP 5,600 is like, man, even as good games, right? You're kind of scratching for value there a little bit. So yeah, Porzingis and I think Denny would be my favorite along with Kispert. But I don't see any of these guys as must plays, even with the Kuzma out.
All right, Drummond is doubtful now, so maybe he has the poopies. I'm not sure, but he's not sure. All right, so a couple things. First of all, a little disappointed with the likes. I'm not going to threaten you, though. If you can get us to 250 by the time we're on your way out, that would be great. Subscribe to our Run Pure Sports channel. Hoop said something's planned when we get to 10K. Bottom right-hand corner, red button, sideways triangle. Up to Lock Show. JT, Hayes, JSU, K. Falik, going to be taking you up to lock with all the news, getting you ready for that one with their cores as well. But let's just get to the plays of the day. How about that, gentleman? Rich Parents, I think, is the one we'll start with here. The Rich Parents play of the day, Hoopage. What do you got?
Well,
I'm going to go to DC.
Yeah, do that. I'm still.
Let's change the graphic, Simon. Let's go from the Rich Parents play of the day graphic to old fat DC, not current DC, Mom's Basement play of the day.
Mom's Basement. Yeah, we're gonna go with the first game of the night, or one of the first 3 games of the night. Backup guard for Portland, Chris Dunn, recently signed, but getting big minutes. And I think Portland's in a spot where you're gonna just kind of see what you got in this guy. Once a highly touted prospect, he's playing well. Great matchup against Detroit. Coming off the bench still, which will keep his ownership, I hope, in check. But 3,800 on DraftKings for Chris Dunn. Assuming he's cheap on FanDuel as well. 4,900. I probably wouldn't go there over on FanDuel, but on DraftKings at least 3,800 for Chris Dunn. And I'll go with Chris Dunn as the Mom's Basement play.
Legit, the only guy that has a higher price on FanDuel than DK. That's like everyone else is like super cheap on FanDuel, and Dunn for some reason it's like $1,100 more.
I thought it was pretty safe. It's only been 4 games he's been in there. They haven't adjusted some of these players' prices in 4 whole games.
Yeah.
What do you think there, Hoop?
Yeah, I knew I had a guy, and then I forgot, and then I just found him again. So it's going to be Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas against that Hornets team. If he gets full run here, I mean, he should smash if this is a competitive game. Don't anticipate many people playing him at 8.3K. He's cheaper on FanDuel, I believe mid-7s. So Valanciunas will be the Rich Parents play of the day.
Beautiful, boys. Beautiful. Nice show, gentlemen. Wonderful to see you, Hoop. Wonderful to see you, DC. One more time, like button on the way out would be terrific. Up to Lock Show, JT, JSU, K. Falik. They'll take you right up to Lock plus Discord. All of our guys will be in Discord. The coordinators, I know Spencer was in there saying, hey, I'm having a problem with my process. Spencer knows this. All you got to do is get in Discord, talk to one of the coordinators. They're going to help you out. We want to help you. We want you to win. So you get in there, hey, guys, can I get a little help on my process? And I'm sure one of them will sit down and take the time out to go back and forth with you. That's one of the cool things about RPS. Check out the site. That would be great as well. Any final words? I'm just going to keep talking. Cut me off if there is. If there's not, Simon, get us out of here.